Hello and welcome to Alchemy for Empaths. So excited to be here. And today I'm going to talk all about astrology and human design for empaths. So, where you can look in your chart to unlock your strengths, and also where to find some of those challenges that come up for you. Yes. Astrology and human design. Astrology, how I view astrology, that is the map that when you enter the world that you're provided with. It sort of guides you on different ways that you can go. I don't believe anything is completely fixed. In life, we still have a lot of choice. We have a lot of ways with how we work with the energy. And astrology gives us a language and a way to describe that. Human design, human design, I view that like that is the car that you're driving on your map. So essentially, we have our bodies, which is our vehicle, and human design can give us clues and tips on how to use our energy to our best advantage while we're navigating that. And both of these modalities can really give us information on where we can find where our unique strengths are and also where we would come up with those challenges. So the purpose of this brief video is just to help you to get an idea of, to understand where you could start to look to help you unpack that a little bit more and sort of empower yourself to move forward. So let's dive in. So what it means to be an empath. Look, anybody can be an empath. Some of us are simply born a little bit more sensitive. And you could be sensitive in lots of different areas. I mean, the most common one that we associate with being an empath or a HSP, highly sensitive person, is taking on other people's emotions and energy. Now, that can translate through to the animal kingdom, through to plants and nature. So you might be a bit more comfortable in those environments and can really get picked up being out there. You could be a psychic empath or psychic medium. So that's connection to the spiritual world. That's also being able to receive, downloads through your mind. There's quite a broad spectrum in regards to how we experience our empathic qualities. Now, the importance of tools like astrology and human design is in understanding one's energetic blueprint. So as I said, it gives us a little bit of a map on how we can sort of work with those energies that are within us. And these tools can also validate our intuitive experiences and provide lots of strategies for navigating life's challenges. And, when I first sort of started to dive into these modalities, it was just kind of like a series of light bulb moments where I was just like, oh, well, that makes so much sense as to why I do this or why I'm struggling to set these boundaries, because this is like an archetype that's within my chart. Now, it doesn't mean that I have to always be that way, but it just felt like I was seen on a much deeper level as to why that was such a challenge for me to say no. Because I could, feel everything that was coming in from other people. And so it gave me a path and some breadcrumbs to follow to help work within myself and my own experience, so I could protect myself and work with my energy moving forward. So let's have a look at the little different key areas that we can look at in your chart. So I'm just going to do this. So one of the first places that I may stop for when looking at doing a reading is looking at your moon sign. So your moon sign represents your emotional world and how you uh, process your feelings. And for empaths, it can also sort of, it's connected to your sensitivity. So it it can also indicate, what your mission in life is, and it will also guide you on what's going to give you the best, what type of self-care is going to be the best for you. So I am a Capricorn moon, and which can be quite a difficult moon sign to have. It's very hard for me to process emotions, to let them go. I can be very guarded, believe it or not, and not like to share those emotions. And so when something really challenging comes up for me, I like to just stuff it back down. And so, yeah, that can make me quite sick. But for my self-care, what I would lean into as a Capricorn moon is really leaning into a little bit of structure or a little bit of routine and feeling like I'm connected with a purpose. If I feel purposeful, I'm a little bit more relaxed. But understanding that, I'm like, okay, well, how can I chill out? And also, how can I release those emotions? So when you consider that as an empath, because I'm absorbing other people's emotions, I'm holding on to their emotions because I find it very hard to release. So you can see how that would be conflicting for me and also a challenge on my body, because if I'm inviting or soaking up like a sponge other people's emotions, but as a Capricorn moon, find it difficult to release those, that could have significant health impacts on me. So once I've learned that, there are certain practices that I put into place to help me intentionally release those emotions. Another area that I would look in for to unpack some of the key aspects of you being an empath is any 12th house influences. So the 12th house in astrology is all about the subconscious thoughts, past lives, karma, the hidden, the unseen. And these people tend to be highly empathic. If you've got South Node, North Node, influences in there, and I may be using some things that you may not have heard about, but continue on following, listening to my podcast. I'm sure we will discuss all these different things going forward. But if you've got a fairly full 12th house, you're going to be highly empathic because you just sort of see the unseen, essentially. This is the same with your Neptune placements. So the planet Neptune is highly intuitive. It's the dreamer. It sees beyond the veil, but it can also be a little bit confusing. It can blur the guidelines. I mean, Pisces is it's the modern ruler of Pisces. So if you understand what a Pisces is like, it's just that very dreamy kind of energy, but it's also quite flowing and moves without. So again, within. So for an empath, having these Neptune placements, if you have them prominently, so either, in your, it depends on the house that it falls in. So you have the energies of the house, energies of the planets, and how they influence you, but where they are placed within the houses are the sort of the stage in which that plays out. So, your first house is your self-identity, how you appear in the world. So if you have Neptune in your first house, for example, you may appear quite dreamy, or people may not be able to quite pinpoint what it is about you. It could be also that, relating to those empathic qualities, Neptune makes you see the unseen. And then the last little bit, astrology point to that you could have a look at is your Chiron, which is the wounded healer. So this is an asteroid, and this is where empaths sort of might feel the most vulnerable, and where you can transform your wounds into healing gifts. This would be similar to your Saturn and Pluto placements. So these would be the energies that you would find that most challenging. So my Chiron, for example, is in Taurus in the 3rd house. So I actually have a lot of feelings and woundings around my self-expression and knowing that what I say is worth enough for something. So that can trigger things. And like, again, if I want to set it, so how that would play in the real world, if I want to set a boundary with someone, Chiron kicks in and thinks, well, am I worthy of actually expressing that boundary? So really understanding how this influences you in your chart will help you to face that issue a lot, with a lot more empowerment. Absolutely. So those were just a few brief astrological aspects that I would look at. Moving into some human design that you can look at. I will have a look at sort of basically the human design types. So as empaths, so projectors. Projectors are natural guides, and they need to be invited, and they're very sensitive to the energy of others. So projectors are here to really amplify and guide others, but they need to be invited to do it. So they're constantly checking in to see what's going to draw them so that they can, project that out into the world. But again, if you, and projectors are super smart, they are really experts in their field. But they also can run out of energy very, very quickly, and they need to have a lot of rest to reset. So if you're an empathic projector, which that process of amplifying that information, you're going to wear out very quickly. So being able for your self-care to set yourself up so that you do structure your life, that and allow yourself to have a lot more rest, will be a lot more beneficial for you. Reflectors are quite, we call them the unicorns in the human design world. They are completely open. They're very deeply attuned to their environment and other people's energy, and they need ample time alone for clarity. So they need to give themselves the permission slip, and as an empath, to step away and have that alone time to process their own feelings and emotions and to make their decisions for clarity. Generators and manifesting generators. Empaths here can feel really constantly drained by responding to other people's needs. So the thing with generators and manifesting generators, they need to follow their joy. They need to do things that give them deep satisfaction. But, that old chestnut in regards to being an empath is we do things because we want to help, but that's not necessarily something that is going to light us up. So that's going to be extra draining and cause generators and many gens to burn out super fast. But it's really hard, because if it is someone that you do really know and love quite well, as an empath, it's going to be extra taxing on you to engage into something like that. So empaths with this type need to manage their energy and trust their intuition when initiating actions. So sometimes, manifestors, bubble up with ideas all the time, but then there's a lot of doubt on whether or not that's going to have the right impact. And if you're an empath picking up on others, you may not think that they're vibing with what you're going to deliver. But the thing with manifestors is they need to just put the ideas out there and trust that their intuition has told them that they need to put this idea out into the world. And so it really all comes down to also understanding your authority or your decision-making strategy. So in human design, so obviously we have that type, but we also have an authority, which helps us to make decisions. So you have emotional, splenic, sacral, and that will help an empath stay true to themselves by to avoid absorbing other people's decisions and or expectations. So for example, I'm an emotional authority, and with an emotional authority, I have to ride a wave of emotions before I make a decision. Like I'll get an idea of something and I'll be just like super pumped. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And then that might go in completely the other direction. Oh no, I can't do that. Da, 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 and it feels not right. But then I need to come to a stage of neutrality before I then go, okay, yes, I'm ready to connect with this. Or so it's really good for me to give myself time before committing to anything. So, and that is a really great way for me to set boundaries. So if I get invited to go to do something, I might be really excited. Oh, yes, I want to do it. But I'll just say, okay, thanks for letting me know that. I'll get back to you about that soon. And then I'll go away and go, yeah, I really want to do it. I really want to do it. And then I might go, oh God, I can't be bothered doing that. And then I'll just sort of get to a neutral place, and then I'll be like either yes or no, like I'll understand. So really understanding your authority process will help you to sort through what is yours and what is not, and giving yourself the space to do that. The other little aspect that I look at in human design is the energy centers, and this is really a sort of, when looking at empaths, quite an integral part of the chart. We have 9 centers, and so some are open and some are closed. And, for example, if you have an open emotional center, you would be taking in and amplifying others' emotions. If you have an open splenic center, that is the fears. If you have an open root center down the base chakra, like you take on the pressure and feelings of pressure to get things done and to be timely, etc. So a lot of projectors have this, so that can be quite draining. So really understanding the dynamics of your energy centers will really help you to manage your energy. And if you understand, if it's open or closed, open centers, they're constantly taking in information from other people. So then we start to hold on to those ideas and concepts, and it develops into what we call conditioning. And this conditioning are those gnarly beliefs and ideas that, oh, we just can't do that, or why could we do it, or things have to look a certain way. So by understanding, if we have an open center and then exploring into that center of the beliefs that we hold within it, to then determine, is that what I truly believe, or is that a perception, or has that literally come from the people that I have been around with? So it really just gives you a really great place to start to be able to flush out some of those things as an empath that you've absorbed and you're not sure where it comes from. So that was a really brief rundown of a few points that I might look for in a chart during a reading. So just to sort of summarize, what would be kind of this, if you were going to have a little bit of an explore yourself, I would first dive in to understand your moon sign. So get on to astro.com, Astro Cafe. There's free charts in there. Great if you have your time and place of birth. Of course, that's going to give you a little bit more detail. But learn what your moon sign is, and you can jump into Google or Pinterest and really, dig deep on understanding your moon sign, is that will give you, some emotional support. Have a look at your human design type, so you're a projector, a generator, and also the authority that you have to help you build some self-awareness of how you operate and move in this world. Next step would be to create some boundaries based on your chart or design. So if you have an open root center, like I just described before, you might set yourself boundaries of not overcommitting to certain tasks, or a certain number of tasks, just so you can manage your energy a lot better. If you've got an open emotional solar plexus, do you have a practice in place to help you to release and clear those emotions? And it is, sometimes it's a little bit about self-discipline and a bit of self-love to be able to really apply that for you. And as you build up the muscle, your protection muscle, your energetic boundaries, it gets a lot easier to hold it and to come back to your sovereignty. I practice a lot of clearing, etc., all the time. But, I am a busy mum with 2 little kids. And so, yeah, sometimes it's not practical. But once you learn to tune into yourself and go, I'm carrying something, then, you have your toolkit, which you'll pull out to be like, and reset yourself to be squeaky clean in regards to your energy. So it's just not like a constant drain on you. It's a little bit more advanced, but you can look at different astrological transits to help you prepare for more heightened sensitivity periods. So, what's Pluto doing? I've just had Pluto for the last year and a half roll over my moon sign. So that was a lot of internal emotional work and transformation there. So it really sort of explained a period of my life. Saturn return is one that's very common that people talk about. So at the age of around 29, Saturn comes around. That's one of your bigger life lessons. And again, the house is sort of the stage that plays out on. That's going to really give you an understanding of some of the challenges that you might be facing and what you could do to support yourself through that. And then the last little practical tip would be just to follow some self-care rituals aligned with your sort of energetic blueprint. So what is your grounding practices for water signs? So water signs, they are very emotional and very intuitive and in flow, but sometimes they can get carried away with that charging river, or if it's a Scorpio water, you've dived right down into the depths of that water. So how can you get some grounding? So it might, including earth elements, or, it could be through food and nourishment, just to bring you back to self. So to wrap it all up, so how understanding your astrology and human design can help you embrace your empathic gifts and navigate challenges. There's so many different aspects. And, pick the modality. Like, it can be confusing when there's 2 different types. You may feel more called to one or the other. And I always say go with where you're being tugged. It just depends what the challenge is coming up for you. That may highlight, okay, what area that you might need to look into. But if you're looking, again, moon sign, human design type, and your authority, those would be just 3 simple and easy areas to start without getting super overwhelmed, because there is so much information out there. And just follow the breadcrumbs. Look into different areas. Once you feel like you've got a really good understanding of your moon sign, well, then have a look at how if you know your time of birth, your rising sign, how you operate in this world, how you present there. That's your self-identity and sense of self. Like, really explore the planets and that sign. what we call your big three, your sun, your moon, and your rising, are going to have the strongest influence in your chart in astrology. So just start there and just start to learn about it. So yeah, I'd love for you to obviously, if you can, like and share this video, I'd be very appreciative. But also in the comments, just share your experiences with me of anything that you've uh, found within your chart that was kind of like a light bulb moment that really helped you as an empath. So it can help others to potentially, go down a little rabbit hole. I love a rabbit hole to explore for themselves. But also, to support yourself, you can book a session or get a reading for some deeper guidance. So I do have an offer. It's called the Empowered Empath Reading. It's a 90-minute session, which will be tailored based on what you are wanting to unpack, or some of your biggest challenges. So if I'm like, I'll intuitively connect in with what's come through, and we'll either lean in more to astrology or more into human design to really unpack what's going to be a better support for you to understand yourself a little bit better, and to just give you those permission slips to step forward. And there's also a little bonus of a no BS guide to setting better boundaries, because we all need that as empaths essentially. So thank you so much. I know that was just a very brief overview, but it is such a huge topic. But hopefully that gives you a few places to start. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with you all soon a bit further. All right. Much love. Bye.